It's your girl, Crystal, the creator and host of Pages. Welcome to an environment for us to express what's on our minds regarding random topics without judgment. So let's turn together to page 1, titled Mommy Issues. Now, I know you heard of this before. It's nothing new. However, in the event this is the first time hearing mommy issues, let me define it for you. Mommy issues typically refers to personal issues or issue stemming from the relationship you had or have with your mother or a mother-like figure. For an example, struggles with affection or even detachment. Now that we're all on the same page, allow me to explain a recent issue I encountered under my mommy issues. First, I want to be clear that my mother is a wonderful individual. She raised me as a single parent and did a lot for me considering the circumstances. And she did well. However, there's no perfect parent, which leads me to my story. My mother and I never had a close relationship like some mothers and daughters. Heck, some of them are too dang on close. But I digress. It seems we bump heads more than we should considering she raised me as a single parent. She was the adult in my life that looked after me and made sure I had what I needed. She said we were poor, but I didn't see that. I felt like I had what I needed. Clothes, shoes, hair done every 2 weeks, etc. Just recently, at the age of 42 years young, I experienced a difficult situation between us. I called to see how she was doing, checking in, making sure she was good. Our conversation went left really quick. Apparently, behind the scenes, she reached out to another family member who lives miles away to take her to an appointment or to say she did not have anyone to drive her to the appointment. I asked why she did not ask me, knowing we live so close together. She responded, I was not dependable. That's when the tone of the conversation changed. I thought to myself, how can she say I'm not dependable when she didn't even ask for help? Or how can she conclude I'm not dependable when she don't ask for much? And when she does ask for something, I don't recall not reciprocating. Normally, my mother explains she has everything under control. So I take that for what it's worth. Honestly, I don't call asking if she needs help with anything because it's always the same response. Everything is under control. Note to self, I need to work on asking if she needs help with anything regardless. I say that to say this. I have not always been a good little girl. But this story is about mommy issues, so I'll continue. Hey, nobody's perfect, right? So moving on. I asked her why she called me not dependable. She said, I do not make myself available. I had no idea what she was talking about, so I asked. She said, because I do not call her much, therefore she never knows when I'm available. Now, let me provide some background on this. She feels I should call her more. I admit I do not call her often, and that's because we've never been close. I don't have a lot to say. There was a time when she asked me to call her every Thursday. I fell short several times with the ask because I'm not retired like she is. I have a family and I work. Eventually, we had a conversation in the past that I was not doing what she asked of me. Calling every Thursday did not work with my busy schedule, and I explained that to my mother. I told her the phone works both ways, and she can call me. She didn't know that this entire situation contributed to my anxiety. As an outcome, I decided without explaining, I will call when I get a chance. I would say I call her once or twice a month without receiving any calls from her. So let me say that again. Without receiving ANY, any calls from her. In other words, my mother decided she will not call me at all and have settled with she's the mother and she's not required to call. Now, for me, that's selfish. It would be nice to receive a call from my mother asking how I was doing, how my husband and son, which is her grandson, are doing. It's sad that my family means very little based on her actions. As far as she knows, we could be deadly sick and dying, and she would never know. God forbid. The conversation continued without getting any better. I was so upset, and my tone got worse. Understand, I did not purposely try to disrespect my mother. However, things got deep. So deep that I told her for the very first time I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I went on to explain different things that she has done to contribute to my diagnosis. She admitted she was not the perfect parent, which felt good to hear, but she would not take accountability for the things I was telling her that caused me to feel the way I did or the way I do. It was awful how she was just holding the phone with nothing to say. Again, no accountability. My words and tone should have provided a clear understanding my level of hurt. She thought by not hearing from me more hurt her. Just imagine how I felt knowing that my own mother do not think enough of me to call to ensure that I'm okay. I'm sure she's hurting, but I'm hurting too. To speed this up some, everything I said I meant. She didn't like my tone and said that she'd rather not continue the conversation. I was fine with that, and the call ended. After wiping my tears away and gathering my thoughts, I was able to enjoy the rest of the day. I did not allow her or the situation to keep me in such a dark place. Our problems were not resolved, but what I can say is this: I needed that phone call. I'm glad it happened the way that it did. For me, it was a call of truth. It felt good to know I finally provided my mother with information I've been keeping in for decades. However, I was not totally happy with the decision on how I provided the information. The next day, I called and apologized for my delivery. Listeners, you might want to sit down for this next part. I'm sure you want to know how my mother responded. First, let me say I was not surprised whatsoever in how she responded. What she said is something she would say and something she meant. After I apologized for my delivery, she accepted my apology and said sometimes we all have our bad days. I paused to gather my thoughts to ensure this conversation ended respectfully. Trust me, there was a very long pause. I did that purposely in hope that she would also apologize or at least take some accountability. It became very clear she did not have anything to say. She took my moment of truth call as having a bad day. I said to myself, how sad. She didn't even get it. This time I ended the call by saying it was good talking with you and have a great day. She told me to do the same. Listeners, that moment, I knew there was no hope for us. Any parent who listened to things I had to say about why I hurt and that I have anxiety and depression from it, and the mother has nothing to say, but we all have our bad days, I knew then I had enough. Mother, I did not have a bad day. I woke up that morning, which made it a good day. It was a holiday I was planning on spending with my family and friends. So, Mother, I didn't have a bad day. Instead, I had a day of truth. A day I desperately needed more than I thought. I'm not responsible for your actions, only my own. I hope that one day you replay our conversation in your mind, contemplate on what was said, and take accountability. I will no longer allow our relationship to depress me. I finally let it go. I accept the kind of relationship we have, and I'm happy with it. Hey, at least we have a relationship, which is more than what I can say for some people I know. I asked others about my situation, and the majority said the same thing. Crystal, it all depends on the generation. The older generation are set more in their ways and was raised differently than my generation. I was advised to accept the situation for what it is and adapt. I've learned from this experience. Nobody is more important than me. I realize I have to do what's best for me. I've acknowledged I needed to up my game in calling my mother and going to visit. I just hope parents out there learn how to listen, ask questions when you don't understand, and always respond. Don't ever leave your child wondering if. A few months went by and I noticed her call game went up before I even made a move. She beat me to the punch. Just when I thought there was no hope, I guess she needed time to process the situation. I'm not sure what happened other than my phone rings when it didn't before. Our conversations are short, nothing new. However, she now asks how my husband and son are doing. It's not up for me to judge if she's being sincere or not. However, the hard part is over. She has not asked any questions whatsoever about what we talked about, and I don't see a need to bring it up again. I'm truly satisfied. Some of you might think I'm being selfish. Some might say I'm making the right moves. Please post a comment. I would love to know your thoughts. I want to end this commentary by saying I have a wonderful mother. Please don't get the wrong impression. Nobody is perfect, including myself. I have stories I can share that places my mother on a pedestal. We've had good times and bad times. Overall, I would not trade her with anyone else. Right now, this is just something that's on my mind that I wanted to share. Releasing this story is my medication. I hope you understand. This podcast is not created to hurt anyone. My apologies in advance if it does. Until next time, folks, please don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, share, download, and comment. You can also connect with me on Facebook, Google, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to embrace who you are and make every day a good mental health day. Peace out.